Welcome to Grow with Biology. Today's topic is recombinant DNA technology. Now, when we talk about recombinant DNA technology, the first term comes across is DNA because it is recombinant DNA. We have to recombine DNA. Recombine means we have to combine two varieties of DNA. Now, from where do we get this? We have to get two types of DNA. From where do we get this? We get it from cells. Now, these two DNAs will be of one will be of gene of interest, another will be of vector. Now, what is gene of interest? Gene of interest is that portion of entire DNA which we are looking for. And what is vector? Vector is a genetic material into which we will bind our gene of interest, and the vector is a vehicle, so it will carry our gene of interest and pass it to another cells. Now, for this we need cells from which we will take out the DNA. So, what are these cells? These cells can be a microorganism, a plant cell, or an animal cell. Now, from the cells we will isolate DNA. Hope you have learned the steps to isolate DNA from the cells. After that, you will get double-stranded DNA. Now, if you connect it with your lab procedures, you will find that we get a solution of DNA at the end, because we get a pellet and then we dissolve the pellet to a solution and we assume that it has a double-stranded DNA. Now, when we want to do recombination, we need restriction endonuclease. Why do we need? Because we have to first cut the gene of interest from the entire DNA. So, you have to cut the gene of interest and then you have to bind it to the vector. So, vector also has to be open to get the gene of interest attached to it. So, all this which we want, but for this we require restriction endonuclease. Now, what is restriction endonuclease? Restriction endonuclease is of three types. Now, if we look at the nomenclature first, we find that it is written as EcoR1, one of the most common restriction endonuclease. Now, EcoR1, E stands for Escherichia, CO stands for coli, and R1 stands for the strain, and Roman 1 stands for the the enzyme which has been isolated from the Escherichia coli. So, first two are the symbols from the name of the bacteria, then the strains come at last. Another example is Hind3, where H is for Haemophilus, IN is for influenza, D3, D is the strain, and third is the enzyme which has been isolated from Haemophilus influenza. This is the nomenclature of restriction endonuclease. Now, it has three types: type 1, type 2 and type 3. Now, when we are talking about endonuclease, means it will cleave in between the DNA strands. It will not cleave at the edges, it will cleave in between. Now, or how do it cleave? It cleaves by breaking the phosphodiester bond. Where it will cleave? It will recognize some sequences. That sequences is known as palindromic sequences. Now, what is the speciality of these sequences? These are palindromes, means whenever you read it from 5' to 3', or if you read it from 3' to 5', the sequence remains the same. Those are palindromic sequences. And when it breaks the phosphodiester bond, then there is a cleavage, and that cleavage or that phosphodiester bond breakage is the main function of restriction endonuclease. Now, if we look at the types, type 1, type 2 and type 3, we will find that type 1, type 2 and type 3 all has some modification properties. Some have in one subunit, some have in different subunits, but type 2 is most important. Now why it is so? Because type 1 will recognize the site, but it will cleave 1000 base pairs away, whereas type 2 will cleave at the exact location where it has recognized the sequence, and type 3 is recognize the sequence and then it will cleave 25 base pair away. So one is at the exact location, one is at 25 base pair away, and another is 1000 base pair away. The most specific is type 2, which will cut at the same site. Now the bottom portions you can see that ECO R1, it has a restriction endonuclease recognition site of GAA-TTC. So the other stand, if you read it from 5' to 3', again it will find GAA-TTC. Now which phosphodiester bond this break? This enzyme break the phosphodiester bond between guanine and adenine. So if it is breaking between G and A, there is an overlapping unpaired region between AATT. So these free nitrogenous bases makes a sticky end. The other example, EcoR5. The sequence is GATATC and it cleaves between T and A. Now here there is a blunt ended molecule. There is no free nitrogenous bases overhanged in this type of cleavage. So it is a blunt end. So restriction endonuclease will produce two type of ends. One is sticky end, another is blunt end. Now when we have studied the restriction endonuclease, we have taken two varieties of cell, one, and then we have isolated the DNA. Isolation of DNA is over, then we treat the cells with restriction endonuclease. Remember, cell 1 and cell 2 are of different origins or different varieties, and then one is for our gene of interest and another is for vector. We have isolated our vector, which is also a DNA, and we have isolated our gene of interest while after treating with restriction endonuclease. So we have used restriction endonuclease. Now what are the possibilities? Now first possibilities which we have taken is both the DNA of cell 1 and cell 2 both have the site for suppose EcoR1. So if we are using EcoR1 to digest cell 1 DNA and cells 2 DNA, then we will find that both the DNA are compatible because the sticky ends which were produced are compatible. If we use both the for both the cell, if it is having a site for EcoR5, then again it will be compatible. But what happens if both the DNA does not have a common restriction endonuclease site? Then what we have to do? We have to use different enzymes. Different restriction endonuclease when we are using, then there will be different varieties of ends. If suppose cell 1's DNA has a blunt end, cell 2 DNA has a sticky end, cell 1 has a sticky ends and vice versa. And both can have a sticky ends, but in all these three cases, the main problem is both the DNA are not compatible. So the cell 1's DNA cannot be carried with or cannot be joined with the cell's 2's DNA. So what do we do? If it is non-compatible, then we have to follow another procedure that is known as modification of cut ends. What are the methods? There is linker, adapter, homopolymer tailing and trimming. These four methods will help you to modify both the DNAs. Once they are modified, then both will be compatible, and next step we can ligate it or join it. Now we have DNA two varieties of DNA which was isolated from cells and animal cells or plant cells. Then we have isolated the DNA, we have used restriction endonuclease, and then uses the modification methods, and we have ligated it. Another way of getting it is from artificial DNA synthesis or cDNA synthesis or RDS method. This cDNA synthesis will give you the exact genetic material or exact gene of interest. Now we will see in another presentation how cDNAs are synthesized. Now we have isolated the cell from gene of interest with the gene of interest, and we have taken a compatible vector. We have mixed the solutions with ligase. Remember, when we are talking about a double stranded DNA in lab condition, you will get a liquid state in which the DNA has. Then again you will add restriction endonuclease to it, again it is in the liquid state. Now when we have uses a restriction endonuclease, we feel that the restriction endonuclease will cleave the phosphodiester bond, and as we have made diagrams, here the fragments have been produced due to the breaking of phosphodiester bond. Now what will happen? We have taken ligases, and a ligase enzyme will help in formation or reforming the phosphodiester bond. Now it only has a specificity that it will form a phosphodiester bond. It will not recognize whether they are compatible sticky ended molecules or blunt ended molecule. It will just form the phosphodiester bond. So now when we are adding this ligase enzyme to a vial which contains the gene of interest as well as the compatible vector, now there are three possibilities possible. First possibility is the gene of interest is self-ligated. Second possibility is plasmid is self-ligated, that is the vector is self-ligated, and third possibility is there is ligation of gene of interest to the plasmid. So there are three possibilities, and with these three possibilities we can have three results. And out of these three possibilities we only aim for the recombinant one. And now we have to screen out which DNA is having a recombinant. Then only we can use it to or then only we can make it transfer to the respective cells. So this is done by transformation. So the next topic will be the screening of the recombinant genetic material.